Today I'm going to show you how I prune my standard hydrangeas. This is super easy. If I can do this, you guys, you got this. This hydrangea right here, I have it growing in one of these containers. I did not purchase this. This is just an empty container that I had from another plant. This actually started from a cutting that I took from my hydrangea hedge. I believe that I took this, guys, couple of years ago. These were actually 2 years ago. 2 years ago in the spring, I took cuttings from my hydrangea hedge. I pruned my hydrangea hedge the way that I normally do every spring, and I saved some of those sticks, some of those cuttings, and I put them in soil. They rooted, and I cut the growth that the stick wanted to push on each bud along the top, and I only left the top growth that was happening here. And I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna bring you in a little bit closer here in a second, but those 3 little sticks that I left are the ones that have been pushing new growth for the plant to bloom. So today I just gotta trim all of this. It is super easy once you kind of understand how the plant is going to be growing, where the branches are going to be coming from, then it's easier to do, right? I know that a lot of us, when we first start pruning things, especially hydrangeas, we feel like we're cutting too much or that we're not cutting enough. Believe me, this is a paniculata hydrangea, this is a limelight hydrangea. You are not going to hurt it. Let me bring you really close. I am losing a little bit of light, so I just want to hurry up and show you this. You can tell from the way that the stem is growing here, you can tell that I have 3 branches coming from the main stem. And those 3 branches are the ones that I am going to leave, and then I am pretty much going to cut the rest. This is pretty much how I am going to leave this guy right here. Now, the reason why I'm going a little bit drastic here is because these 3 branches, this is still a baby standard hydrangea. It hasn't really thickened up. The branches are not quite thick, so I am not going to waste my time just waiting for the rest of the other branches to thicken up. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave these guys here. I am going to let them grow for maybe a couple more years until they get thick enough so that I can start leaving a couple of branches from each. So right now I have about 3 main branches. Next year, maybe if these 3 guys are thick enough, I am going to leave maybe a couple on each so they have more space to grow. And how these hydrangeas are going right here, you can tell, but on each bud, there's a little bit of growth happening here. These branches are actually not going to bloom. They are going to be the support for the growth of the hydrangea, for the big, long branches that are about to grow here. And those are the ones that are going to bloom. So these right now are just going to be working as a support for everything else that the plant is going to do. If I was to leave all of the skinny, weak branches that I just cut off, the branches, the new growth that is coming this year, it will be growing on really weak stems. That's not what I want. I want this plant to be as strong as it can be. And like I say, this is a baby standard hydrangea, so it's going to need a couple of years to grow into a huge, huge, thick plant. Let me show you one that has been growing for a while. This hydrangea here is what I call my happy mistake. A few years ago, I will say about 4 or 5 years ago now, I pruned my hydrangeas, and as it happens every spring, my hydrangeas grow really, really healthy and strong. So the cuttings that I take, or the cuts that I take from every spring from the hydrangeas, they are about 4 to 5 feet tall. And that spring, I decided to make a trellis for my sugar snap peas. I put those sticks in this container. I went all around it. I built a beautiful trellis, and what do I know? A few of those sticks rooted. And that's how this hydrangea was born. I decided that year not to do anything to it. I left all of those sticks there and they stayed outside. They weren't protected of anything. They stay in this container, and the following spring I just had this guy. This guy is really thick right now. This guy was just as a baby as the other one that I just showed you, but it has been growing here for quite a bit, and every year I remove some of the potting mix in this container. I add a little bit of fresh soil, I add fertilizer, and I have been training it, again cutting from all of the stems up to the top, trying to train it and keeping it nice and strong and healthy. And this hydrangea, I mean, this hydrangea is beautiful. Actually, this will be the last time that you see this hydrangea in my channel because it's going to go to my mom's garden this coming spring. She doesn't know it yet, but she's going to get it. And right here is the same idea. All of these very weak branches, all of these have new growth coming here. These branches are actually not going to bloom. Nothing is going to happen here at the end. But these branches, if I let them be on this plant, these are the branches that are going to shoot branches, and those branches are going to have flowers at the end. So just imagine, like this little branch right here is very, very weak, and it has about 18 new buds coming. So just imagine this little branch holding 18 3 to 5 feet long branches with a flower, with a hydrangea flower at the end. So that's just not going to work. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut all of these because I don't want the plant, the stems growing the new branches where, you know, where it's very, very weak. I am going to remove all of this, and I am just going to let the main thick branches be the ones that actually are the support for all of the new growth that is happening here. Okay, so first I'm going to start by removing the weak branches. Like I said, I am not really worried about the skinny little guys. So I am going to start by really removing those branches that I know are not going to give me anything. And if you find one that you're like, well, maybe I can leave this branch, maybe that branch is strong enough. If you're not sure about it, I will say give that plant another year, cut that off, give the plant another year to get stronger, thicker stems. And this is how I have been doing this since I pretty much had this happy accident. And hopefully you can see this here. In the first year, I really only had these three, just like my other one that I showed you. I only had these three guys come here, and then these guys kind of let it be a little bit and it started to grow a little bit thicker. But if you start with hydrangea standards, the way that I did, where the branches are just very, very small, very thin, then you definitely want to allow the plant just to get really strong so that it can hold the weight of all of those hydrangea blooms. Just looking at it really close. And right now I see a lot of buds, a lot of new growth happening. And that just tells me that the plant is waking up. And at some point here, maybe in June or July, I'll come here and look at the plant again. Maybe this stick, maybe this branch will be, you know, dead. Then I will remove it then. That way next year I'm not wondering if that branch is good. I probably did that last year. So this is it for this hydrangea right here. It looks very different from when we started, but my goodness, this one is just going to grow nice and strong branches. And every single stem here is nice and strong. And what's going to happen, I am not going to do this today because it was still a little bit too early, but what's going to happen here in April or so, I am going to come here, I am going to add fresh potting mix, and then I am going to add some fertilizer. Some well-balanced, slow-release fertilizer is fine. And then, like I say, it's going to go to my mom's. So, isn't it beautiful? Let me show you one more really quick. This hydrangea right here is also a baby one. And this one I started at the same time as I did the first one that I showed you. And again, this one right here, I am not too worried about, you know, getting the best blooms, getting a lot of blooms from this one. Right now, what I'm really wanting to do is just, I want to train the plant to get the branches as thick and as strong as possible. So I am going to leave that one there. Definitely going out. And that's it. That is really how this hydrangea is going to be. I have some buds growing over here. I have some other buds coming over here and some from the top. If I was to have any growth happening over here along the stem underneath everything that is happening up here, I will come here and remove those because I don't want anything taken away from the top. But this is pretty much it. This is how I train my baby hydrangeas when they're this little. Like I said, this was not meant to happen, at least not with the first one, but it's something that it can be easily done. If you prune your hydrangeas, if you have panicle hydrangeas that you're pruning this spring, save those cuttings, put them in some potting mix outside and let them do their thing. And if they root, separate those sticks into their own little containers and start growing your own happy accidents. That's it for this video, you guys. I hope that you get inspired to do something in your own garden. These guys will probably have to go into a bigger container because the roots are probably, wow, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful roots happening there. I always have to look at the roots. I don't know why. It makes me feel good. Thank you for watching, and until the next time.